When they're protecting pedophiles, when they are blowing our budget, when they are starting wars overseas, I'm sorry, I can't go along with that. And back home, people agree with me.
Yesterday, Congressman Ro Khanna from California and Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky both appeared with Kaitlan Collins on CNN. A little inside baseball, a little behind the scenes, a little BTS for you is I was supposed to be interviewing Ro Khanna yesterday at 8 p.m. and instead he ended up on Kaitlan Collins. We're going to do it today. We rescheduled. But I don't mind. I don't mind getting bumped for a major television network. It's fine, I'm just a YouTuber. Anyway, some very interesting things were said in this interview. Some that I'm going to get a follow-up on when I talk to him coming up. I think that interview is probably going to post at 6. It hasn't even taken place yet, but I think we're going to get it up at 6 p.m. tonight. Very, very important things were said. Some I'm going to get a follow-up on from Ro Khanna, like I just said, but also from Thomas Massie, who seems to be just going scorched earth on the Republican Party, his own party, saying that they are protecting pedophiles, talking about the withholding of swearing in of Adelita Grijalva, the new congresswoman from Arizona, who finally got sworn in yesterday, but was prevented from doing her job, from representing her constituency. Another boot on the neck of democracy in America, of representative democracy in this country. Well, let's begin, though, with Ro Khanna, who said some things that I'm going to ask follow-ups about, but really just getting to the heart of it. This is plain speak. This is real talk from what is becoming a very important member of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, so what happens here when if it passes and it does have that deluge of Republicans? I know you said today you thought 40 to 50 could potentially vote for it. Is that right?
Well, I think the speaker's concluded if you can't stop the parade, you might as well lead it. And so now he's saying, I want to have the vote. I do think that you could get 30, 40, 50 Republicans voting for it, because what are we talking about? We're talking about rich and powerful men who abused young girls and told people in junior high to go recruit others to be raped or abused. That's what we're talking about. And we're saying that these victims want to expose the men who did this to them. Some of these men still have buildings named after them. Some of them still have scholarships named after them. Enough. And so I think when it's actually a vote on the House floor, do you want these files released? Republicans and Democrats are going to vote yes.
I like that line, that he believes that the speaker has concluded that if you can't stop the parade, you might as well lead it. I don't know exactly if that's what we're looking at with Mike Johnson, but it is certainly him trying to save a little face. But the question that I'm going to ask a follow-up of later when I talk to him is about, we're talking about rich and powerful men who abuse young girls and told people in junior high to go recruit others to be raped and abused. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about these victims, and some of them have buildings named after them, scholarships named after them. The natural follow-up from Kaitlan Collins should have been, whoa, who exactly are you talking about? Because it's obviously not just Donald Trump who is implicated in some of the most horrific crimes against children that can be committed. It's others. The release of the Epstein Files isn't just about, let's get Donald Trump. Oh, we're frothing at the mouth to get Trump. It's about righting a wrong. It's about exacting justice. It's about consequence for people who abused the most innocent among us. That's what it's about. And if Donald Trump gets wrapped up in that, so be it. If Bill Clinton gets wrapped up in that, if Bill Gates get wrapped up, what if anybody gets wrapped up in that? Burn them to the ground. Speaking of burning them to the ground, it seems that's what Thomas Massie was doing last night when asked questions from Kaitlan Collins. And I'm here for it. Look, Thomas Massie is absolutely a right-wing conservative. This guy is not a wokester, whatever that means. He's not a radical left lunatic. He's a far right-wing Republican. He's one of these dipshits that poses with photos with his whole family holding weapons of war around the Christmas tree. He's one of those guys. He's a guy who got up in the face of congressmen when they were talking about gun reform in the halls of Congress. He's not a reasonable or rational person. So when you find him doing this, it must mean that the rubber has hit the road and people in his district aren't going to stand for him protecting pedophiles. Because I don't believe him to be so principled that he wouldn't back Donald Trump's play in this manner if it didn't mean direct harm and a threat to his position in Congress. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but I don't think I am. Witness this little interaction between he and Kaitlan Collins.
But when it comes to the motivation here and how MAGA voters feel about this, I mean, you speak to these people. You're someone who has been outspoken against the White House, but you don't generally disagree with some of the things that President Trump does or has run on policy-wise. How do you explain to voters why the president is fighting your discharge petition or fighting the release of these documents from the Justice Department?
Well, I vote with my party 91% of the time, and which means I have agreed with the president 91% of the time. But when they're protecting pedophiles, when they are blowing our budget, when they are starting wars overseas, I'm sorry, I can't go along with that. And back home, people agree with me. They understand, even the most ardent Trump supporters understand sometimes he gets bad advice, sometimes he gives bad advice, and we wouldn't model our lives after him, his personal life. And they're okay with that. I mean, you can still like Donald Trump in Kentucky and like what I'm doing and what Ro Khanna is doing, which is trying to get transparency.
Well, and we were watching Adelita Grijalva be sworn in today, and as soon as she was sworn in, she walked over and signed this discharge petition. Seconds later, you went up and shook her hand, as you noted, before any other Democrats had actually even ever gotten over to her side.
You couldn't hear what I said, but I apologized to her for what my own party did, which was to keep her from being sworn in and depriving an entire congressional district of representation for 49, 50 days, which, I won a special election myself. I think I was sworn in within a week, and there was no reason to delay this other than the petty thing that now the speaker is accelerating. He tried to delay this vote. He deprived a congressional district of a congressperson. And now he says, well, okay, I guess I lost. We'll have the vote next week.
So again, let's drill down on what this question is. I think that's important to do that all the time. How do you explain to voters why the president is fighting your discharge petition or fighting the release of these documents from the Justice Department? What do you explain to your voters, and how are they feeling about this? And he goes on to indict his party, his own party. He's not talking about radical left lunatic Democrats. He's not doing all the Trump stuff. He's saying, but when they're protecting pedophiles, they are meaning the Republican Party. He goes, I agree. I have agreed with the president 91% of the time. But when they are protecting pedophiles, when they are blowing our budget, when they start starting wars overseas, I'm sorry, he says, I can't go along with that. Maybe I'm turning the corner on my buddy Thomas Massie here. I doubt it, but it seems maybe so. And then again, once Adelita Grijalva was sworn in, he was the first person to go over. They show a little B-roll of it while he's telling the story, that he went over to apologize for his own party. And he goes on to describe the same thing I've been banging on about for years, about the boot of the Republican Party on the neck of Democratic representative government. He apologizes. I apologize for her for what my own party did, which was to keep her from being sworn in and depriving an entire congressional district of representation for 49 or 50 days. Maybe Thomas Massie is a wokester. Maybe he is, like me, a social justice warrior concerned about democracy, the continuation of democracy in the United States of America. And then the final nail in the coffin of the Republican Party, as far as I'm concerned, there was no reason to delay this vote other than the petty thing that now the speaker is accelerating. And he goes on to explain. You watched it. You heard it. I got follow-ups for Ro Khanna. I guess I got a couple of kudos for Thomas Massie. But I'd love to know what you think about this. Is this the nail in the Trump coffin? This entire Epstein thing? I don't know. I got a lot of questions for Ro Khanna. If you have some, again, I haven't done the interview yet. Put them in the comments of this video. I'll scroll through, find some questions, and see if we can't get them answered. You can do that in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line. I'm not going to be checking voicemails for the questions, though, so make sure those are in the comments. 714-576-4054 if you want to talk about this more globally. You can also email me, daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. We're going to stay on this. Be genuine. Take care of one another.